In this video, I'm going to go over how to use trig functions to find missing sides of right triangles. And so when we're doing right triangle trig, we are using sine, cosine, and tangent. And the acronym that many people use to remember the order of the sides is Soh Cah Toa. So for sine, we have opposite over hypotenuse. And for cosine of an angle, we use the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. And then for a tangent, we use the opposite side over the adjacent. I'm just going to abbreviate here. All right, so if I'm looking at angle A, your trig functions are always in reference to one of the angles that's not the right angle. So I'm going to use angle A here. If this was A, then the side that's across from the angle that you want is your opposite side, and the one that's next to it, or the one that forms the angle, is the adjacent side, and then your side across from the right angle is the hypotenuse. So that's how you label the sides. So when I have students who struggle with this, I always tell them first label the hypotenuse, just go straight to your right angle, go across, that's your hypotenuse. Then go to your angle that you've marked and go across from it, and that's your opposite side, and what's left over is the adjacent side, and it's like one of the sides of the actual angle. All right, so let's use this. So if I'm solving this problem number 1, and I have my angle here that's 40 degrees, I need to label the sides that are given. So the side that has x on it is across from 90, so that I'm labeling that hypotenuse, and the 6 is next to it. It forms the angle, so that's adjacent. This one over here would have been opposite, but we don't need that one for this problem. So if I have A and H, that's cosine, adjacent and hypotenuse. So I'm going to use the cosine of 40 is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And then this is the more annoying, I guess, type of these problems because you have to do 2 steps versus 1 step. So they're all either 2-step or 1 step once you get it set up. So I'm going to multiply by x, and I have x times the cosine of 40 is equal to 6, and then I'm going to divide by the cosine of 40 to get x alone. And then you need to make sure your calculator is in degree mode. If you're using a TI-84, you just hit mode and check it there. If you're using Desmos, the wrench is where you change it from radians to degrees. So I want degrees, and then I simply just type in 6 over the cosine of 40. And I'm going to round to the nearest tenth, so 7.8. All right, number 2. I'm looking at this angle that's marked 70. Across from that angle, we label the opposite side, and across from 90, we label the hypotenuse. And so if I am setting this one up and I'm using opposite and hypotenuse, this would be the sine of 70 is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. And this is the more simple type versus number 1 where we had 2 step. We only have 1 step here because we multiply by 7. And then we just type 7 sine of 70 into the calculator. So I'll do 7 and then sine of 70, and that gives me 6.6 if I round to the nearest tenth. All right. I would like to, none of these are tangent. Let me find one. These are missing angles. So I'll have hypotenuse. All right, I'm just going to fix one of these so that we have a good example for tangent. So I'm looking at number 3, and I'm going to pretend that this 13 is not there, and I'm just going to make this side over here be 10. All right, so now I can use this example for tangent because this is my opposite side because it's across from the angle, and then this is my adjacent side because it's next to the angle. Originally, we had the hypotenuse that I scribbled out. So now I have opposite and adjacent, so I have the tangent of 32 is equal to the opposite side, 10, over the adjacent side, and then I'm going to multiply by x to get it out of the denominator, and I have x times the tangent of 32 is equal to 10, and then I'm going to divide by the tangent of 32. And so you'll start to see that even when it's the one where x is in the denominator, the steps are all the same. They like follow the same moves, and so you get kind of more comfortable with them as it goes on. You're either going to end up dividing by the trig function or multiplying it. I don't remember what the angle was. It was 32. So 10 over the tangent of 32 will give me 16. All right. Let's do one more quickly. Number 4. If I'm looking at this angle, 55, across from 90, we label hypotenuse, and next to the angle, we label adjacent. So this would be the cosine of 55 because it's A and H. And then I would set it up as adjacent over hypotenuse, and then I want to get 20 out of the denominator, and it's dividing x, so I multiply. So this is the kind that you only have to do the one step of multiplying. So I have 20 cosine 55, and that ends up being 11.5. And this is how to find missing sides of right triangles using trig.